Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, wildfires have burned throughout the region, but two of the largest have been in Estill County. We'll have an update on that situation after today's rain. And a deadline approaches for former President Donald Trump as the committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol wants to hear from him. What's at stake coming up.
And showers working through now, but cold temperatures are on their heels. The latest out of the way is Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Forest fires are finally starting to go out as the rain continues falling in some areas. For many, though, the scenes of flames on mountainsides is burned in their memories. Samantha Valentino caught up with community members in Estill County.
We got to remember really what's important, and that's when crisis brings us together and really helps us focus on what's really important, and that's people.
Chuck Farrell is the pastor at Ravenna Church of God in Estill County. He watched as hundreds of acres of wildfires burned through his community.
It was very unnerving to witness this, to stand back. I mean, you feel helpless in a way.
While he felt helpless, Farrell says he also felt grateful for those who fought the fires.
Thank you is not enough for what they did. The tireless work, it's hot work. Until you have fought a fire, you have no idea what goes into that, especially with the terrain and challenges they had to face.
The fires are now 100% contained. Due to weeks of dry conditions, the county has been under a burn ban.
And despite the rain that we're now seeing in Estill County, that burn ban is still in effect.
We would just ask people to respect that until that order is rescinded. I wouldn't expect it to be much longer. But as for now, it is still in place.
Ronnie Riddle is the Estill County Director of Emergency Management. He says that without the help of so many crews, the damage caused by the fires would have been much worse.
We so appreciate all the fire departments, both locally and from surrounding counties and from the state and national forestry that helped out with this.
In Estill County, Samantha Valentino, WKYT.
Rain has certainly been a help in easing some of the forest fires, not just in the Kentucky River Valley, but further on to the south and east as well. I did wake up to some rather smoky conditions this morning as the rain had finally put those fires out late last night. UVA-wise camera 57 there as we get that new frame loaded in where we can see a hint of orange on the camera view. That's that sun trying to peek on through the overcast we've got out there, and it is a little orange out there, at least a little pink, as we watch the rain come to an end here in Hazard. Everybody's right around 60 degrees or so. It's a rather consistent forecast right now, at least throughout the region. Our cold front continues to push the remnants of Tropical Depression Nicole on out of the region. We're already seeing dry throughout the entire western half of the state, or at least the western half of the region, the entire western 4/5 of the state, but a few showers remaining in the Big Sandy Valley, at least for now. Heading out to that game of the week, well, it's looking drier and drier for our Appalachian Wireless game of the week between Letcher Central and Corbin. However, it will be getting chillier as those temperatures fall through the 50s. The details on when we could see a return to a few showers, that's in a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. CBS News projects the U.S. House of Representatives is leaning toward Republican control, while control of the Senate is still a toss-up. Ballot counting continues in Arizona and Nevada, and in Georgia, Senate candidates are readying themselves for a runoff in December. CBS's Natalie Brand has the latest from Capitol Hill.
The campaigning hasn't stopped in Georgia, where incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock and Republican challenger Herschel Walker are now sprinting to a December 6th runoff.
They said we're in overtime. We're in overtime. I did warn y'all that we might be spending Thanksgiving together.
It's a seat that could determine which party controls the U.S. Senate, depending on what happens with the two other outstanding Senate races. In Nevada, the race between incumbent Catherine Cortez Masto and Republican challenger Adam Laxalt has tightened as more votes get counted. Under Nevada law, counties can receive ballots postmarked by Election Day through Saturday.
Right now, based on what we saw in the vault this morning, we've got a little over 50,000 ballots that still need to be counted.
In Arizona, elections officials in Maricopa County are still working through a record number of early ballots dropped off on Election Day. The race between incumbent Senator Mark Kelly and Republican Blake Masters is still leaning Democratic. The U.S. House is leaning Republican.
Both chambers are poised to once again have very slim majorities. House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy has already begun a campaign for Speaker.
So we'll see how much Kevin McCarthy, how much arm twisting or how many favors he has to do to get over the top to get his speakership.
The midterm elections have highlighted divisions within the Republican Party.
Many of Donald Trump's candidates lost, and a lot of people in the Republican Party are probably going to say, maybe he shouldn't be the head of our party if he's choosing candidates like this.
But the former president, hinting at 2024, has already sent out a formal notice for a big announcement next Tuesday. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Arizona and Nevada also have very tight races for governor. CBS News projects both are still too close to call. A federal court struck down President Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness program late yesterday. The judge in Texas declared it illegal. The conservative group, the Job Creators Network Foundation, filed the lawsuit in October on behalf of two borrowers who did not qualify for debt relief. The White House disagreed with the ruling and vowed to continue fighting. The Justice Department already announced it was appealing. The program was already on hold following a ruling by the 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in a separate legal challenge. Former President Trump is planning to make a special announcement next week, as already mentioned in the story we just ran. This as the investigation into his handling of presidential records continues. Yesterday, Trump told a federal appeals court it should leave in place the third-party review of the material seized at Mar-a-Lago. A trial judge ordered a special master to inspect the thousands of documents taken from Trump's Florida resort. Trump says they are, quote, presumptively his personal property under the Presidential Records Act. The appeals court is reviewing the Justice Department's challenge of the special master review. Well, Monday is the deadline for former President Trump to comply with the January 6th committee's subpoena. Whether he actually meets with the committee and speaks under oath is the question. WYMT Washington News Bureau's David Aid has the latest.
The January 6th committee continues its investigation into the 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. The committee subpoenaed former President Donald Trump last month, compelling him to testify and turn over documents, threatening criminal penalty if he doesn't. The committee already gave the former president extra time and extended the deadline for him to turn over records until Monday the 14th. In a statement, the committee also said Trump, quote, remains under subpoena for deposition testimony starting on November 14th. It's unclear whether the former president will hand over documents or speak with the committee starting on Monday. We spoke with a presidential historian for some context here.
And what's happened in the past is that Donald Trump has seldom done anything that he has said he's going to do. He has seldom done anything that people expect him to do. I don't think a former president has refused to cooperate with the constituted authorities in this way ever before. There has been all sorts of conflict. The best example is Nixon. And even Nixon eventually gave in.
If the former president refuses to cooperate, the committee does have the power to say he's in contempt, something the committee did with Trump ally Steve Bannon, who was found guilty last month and sentenced to 4 months in prison. In the Washington News Bureau, I'm David Aid.
Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, a plan to make blue verification check marks on Twitter available by subscription may not have gone the way Twitter officials intended. An update on the future of the social media platform.
Well, it's not looking great for high school football out there, but this soaker is helping the Wildfires in the drought. The latest on when this rain moves out, straight ahead.